Warning: Superpower review is intended for a mature viewing audience. This video may show images that are not suitable for kids under 13 years old. Viewer discretion is advised. What's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Vidini here for Superpower Review, and welcome to this premiere. I am joined by a very special guest for today's show, but before we get to the guest, I just would like to remind you guys that if you like today's content, be sure to smash that like button, comment some feedback in the comment section or in the chat, and subscribe to the channel if you're new here to show your support. I am also giving away a Spawn #1 CGC graded at a 9.4 once the channel reaches 2,000 subscribers. So without further ado, let me introduce my guests. We have Luke Smith from Hydra Collectables. What's going on, Luke?
Hey, thanks for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. How are you?
It's a little bit hot here, but other than that, we're just getting by.
It's very hot here as well. So guys, today Luke and I are going to be counting down our top 5 favorite comic book artists of all time. And I hope you guys are ready. Luke, are you ready?
I'm about ready. This one took a lot of thinking.
Did it? Yeah, it took a little bit of thinking for me as well. I had to think about it for maybe a good 10 minutes, but I think I have a very solid pick. It's just so hard because there's so many great artists that it's hard to pick 5, and I like so many of them for a vast amount of reasons. So it was really hard to nail it down just to 5. Maybe we could do like a continue on, maybe a video for later, or we could do an honorable mentions. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll do an honorable mentions before we get to 1. So, starting off with 5, Luke, what is your number 5 favorite comic book artist?
So yeah, just a quick one before we get started. It was only after I wrote down all 5 of these artists that I realized they all actually share something in common. And that is, of course, that they are all Spider-Man artists. So
I am not shocked whatsoever by this news.
I think my obvious choice to begin with, and again, like how you mentioned with honorable mentions, my original choice was to go straight in with like Jack Kirby, but I thought, everyone's going to say that. Everyone loves Jack Kirby's art. So I wanted to exclude him from this list. And so then writing these 5, it led me to being all Spider-Man artists. So taking away with the 5th spot, number 5, is Eric Larson. He took Spider-Man back to its original roots. He went back to that Ditko and that Kirby kind of style of drawing and brought it to the modern age. He had a lot of success with Doom Patrol and The Outsiders. And of course, on Spider-Man, he gave us the great Revenge of the Sinister Six story arc. So, Eric Larson for me is my number 5 pick.
I was thinking about Eric Larson, and I was like, you know what? I don't think Eric Larson is going to make it on today's list. So it's very cool. I really like Eric Larson, too, because he has such a strange... Well, maybe not strange. He has a different way of drawing. And I don't know if you've ever seen his videos, but he holds the pencil in a very different way than you would normally see a comic book artist. Like, what you normally write. He holds it horizontally like this, and it's very different to watch. It's kind of cool, actually. It's like, how do you, because I've actually tried it a couple of times where you could draw like that, and I'm like, I don't know how he does it.
No, me neither.
All right, so Eric Larson is your number 5, and for my number 5, this kind of hurts, actually. But I'm going to go with a very famous Spider-Man artist as well, and I'm going to go with Mark Bagley. And Mark Bagley is the co-creator to Carnage, one of my favorite symbiotes. I feel like that Mark Bagley was very important to the creation of symbiotes. And Mark Bagley was also, in my opinion, he's the person who made Venom who he initially is. So if you think of Venom, I really feel like it was Mark Bagley's part that makes you have that iconic image of Venom.
Couldn't agree more. Mark Bagley is one of the members on my list, but I will let you guys wait and see what number he comes in at.
So for your number 4 is?
So my number 4, this artist isn't as well known for people around the same era, but this is Ross Undrew. He was basically brought in 1968, I believe, in order to do penciling for John Romita after he suffered a wrist injury. And so he was brought in to do the pencils and do a lot of the work. And he done very well, but obviously Romita's wrist injury healed up rather quickly, and so we didn't really see much of Ross's work until 1973, where he was then given his run on ASM. And some of the most famous pieces that he would have done would have been the pencil works on the debut of the Punisher, and he also done the work for the Superman versus Spider-Man crossover event that they had around that time.
I remember.
His run basically spanned for about 5 years, I believe.
I don't know too much about this artist, to be honest, so maybe I'm gonna have to do some homework for when I'm editing it and putting some images of this artist for your segment. So yeah, that's pretty interesting. All right, so for my number 4, this artist is fairly new. He's from Italy, and I can't get enough of all of his variant covers. I need all of them. This artist is Gabriel Dell'Otto. He's a variant artist for both Marvel and DC Comics. And this guy just blows my mind. I love the mediums that he uses, such as the oil paints and the colored pencils. And this guy's art is just absolutely amazing. Are you a fan of Gabriel Dell'Otto, Luke?
I am indeed. Again, he has done some very cool symbiote covers.
Yes.
Some of them are completely knockout.
Yeah, I can't get enough of them. I need more of them. He just recently came out with a new cover for Venom 27, which is a really awesome Carnage cover, and I definitely gotta pick that up.
Yeah, I've ordered myself a copy of that very same cover.
You did?
I did.
Nice. All right, so, and then your number 3, Luke.
So my number 3 is Mark Bagley. What can be said other than what you've already said already? He started off doing a lot of Marvel trading cards, a lot of the annuals.
True.
He done a lot of the What If issues. He done a rather forgettable run on Web of Spider-Man, which we won't really go into. But he was finally given full reign of the Amazing Spider-Man arc at issue 345, I believe, taking over from Larson, and he ran with that for 64 back-to-back issues without ever breaking a sweat. A lot of his artwork, not only from comics, but a lot of the merchandise that was around from that time was actually his work. And he even had some of his artwork put onto credit cards, which is a rather unique way of looking at things.
So, and then my number 3 is Bernie Wrightson, the master of the macabre. This guy is absolutely awesome, especially if you love horror, ghosts, ghouls, zombies, anything to that nature. This artist is absolutely fantastic, and Swamp Thing 1 through 10, those issues that he worked on, in my opinion, are one of the best things that I have ever read in comic books when it comes to Len Wayne's writing with Bernie Wrightson's artwork. It's just absolutely glorious. I just love the creepiness that Bernie Wrightson brings to the table. It's not that so much norm of the pop and all the colorful pages and whatnot. It's the dark, ugly colors that really make it scary. You know what I mean? So that's my number 3, Bernie Wrightson.
No, great choice. Really great choice. So my number 2 spot. Number 1 and number 2 is so difficult, because it can swap and change on a daily basis. But today I'm going to go with this order. And so at number 2, I've got John Romita Sr. John Romita Sr., really did cement that look of Spider-Man, in those early days of its creation. He was brought on after Steve Ditko decided to leave, and I can't really sing the praises anymore. I just love John Romita's artwork, and I was very, very lucky to manage to get myself a signature series of one of my favorite covers, which is ASM number 45. Beautiful cover, signed by Romita in a CGC slab. I'm over the moon with it, more than happy, So yeah, he is my number 2 pick, but like I say, sometimes he might be my number 1.
So my number 2, we're going with a classic. My number 2 is an artist that was appreciated with Batman. I would say he was more of a DC artist. He did work for Marvel, but I'm going to go with Neil Adams. Neil Adams' Batman, for me, is one of the best runs for me. When it comes to Neil Adams, and if it's Batman, I gotta have it. I gotta pick it up. I pick it up all the time. So if I'm going through a short box and I see Neil Adams in that short box, I'm taking it home, okay? Unless I have it already. But when it comes to anything else, I don't know. Like if it was a Green Lantern, it's not my favorite because I don't like Green Lantern. It's Batman. So it's all about Batman and Spider-Man for me. Before we get to number 1, Luke, do you have any honorable mentions?
So yeah, my honourable mention might actually be your first pick, but who knows?
Ooh.
My honourable mention would be Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane is a great artist, you know, and a great businessman. You know, I've made a few little references over the last couple of years to actually say, you know, he's almost like the new grandfather of comic books. You know, we had Stan Lee, who unfortunately passed away, and it was all very sad. But I feel like if anyone could fill that gap, and I'm not saying that Stan could ever be replaced, but if anyone could ever step into those shoes and guide new fans into this industry, it would be Todd McFarlane. You know, he's got his hands in so many different things, from his comic series through to, you know, various TV shows and films that he's working on, as well as his toy line. You know, Todd McFarlane is, for all accounts, a great guy. I've never had the luxury of meeting him myself, but I've seen the documentaries, I've seen interviews with other people, and yeah, he's been my honourable mention for sure.
Those are some pretty big shoes to fill when you said, you know, he could potentially be like, you know, not replacing Stan Lee, but he could be the next Stan Lee. That's big shoes to fill, man.
It is, and I don't take that lightly. Do you know what I mean? Like it is huge shoes to fill, but out of everyone within the industry, I think he has the better chance. You know, people like him. You know, he's a very charismatic character, very nice guy to talk to. I've seen the interviews and everything, and he always comes across as being a nice guy. I might be wrong, you know, but if I'm wrong, then please let us know in the comment section below. But you know, I feel like, especially young kids who have never experienced Stan, you know, I was lucky enough to meet Stan twice, you know, but there are new fans out there that will never have that opportunity, and they're going to need someone. And, you know, yes, okay, you've got Kevin Feige, who's overseeing all the stuff at Disney, but I don't think he's as in touch with the people, in touch with the fans.
That's true.
But I think Todd McFarlane is.
My honorable mention, and I think I'm going to pretty much go with what you said. It could be, you know, a different pick during the day, any other day. But I think my honorable mention would have to be Jason Fabok. And I feel like that Jason Fabok is going through the ranks fairly quickly, and he's a fantastic artist. I love all of the amount of detail that he puts in his artwork, and of course, you know, a Batman. He's a huge Batman artist, and that's why I really like him a lot as well. All right, so what is your number 1?
So my number 1. Well, we've got a lot of artists out there, and they've created a lot of characters in their time, and you know, not always does that first artist ever become the best artist for that specific character. However, for that short amount of time that he was involved with Spider-Man, I just think you look at Steve Ditko's artwork and you are blown away. I think you look at that artwork and every cover is just wow, oh my god. You know, the guy was a true artist, and you know, we've all heard the story. We've heard that, you know, Stan wanted Jack Kirby to initially draw Spider-Man, you know, and Ditko was only there to do colouring and do a few little touch-ups for Kirby's work. But because Stan was unhappy with what Jack put forward, you know, he went over to Steve, and they created what we now know and love. And I love these early pictures of Spider-Man. I love my Spider-Man to be that, you know, lanky, dangly, insect-like creature. You know, that's the Spider-Man that I really love. And so when I mentioned about Eric Larson, you know, coming on board, you know, for my number 5 spot, and I said that he brought it back to those original roots, you know, that's what I meant, because throughout that time, Spider-Man was getting beefier and beefier, and, you know, that didn't fit right. You know, to me, he's meant to be, you know, effectively a mutant. You know, I consider Spider-Man very much to be like one of the X-Men. You know, he's going to be a mutated creature, and so therefore he should look that way. Even the Sentinels in the X-Men get him confused sometimes, and they come in for the attack. So I'm not the only one there that believes that. But yeah, Steve Ditko, he was on there for a short period of time, but by far my favorite artist.
Very good. Very nice. All right. So I'm going to just remind you about how you like the scrawny, lanky, dangling Spider-Man. Well, my favorite artist, come on, this is no surprise. I'm going to go with Todd McFarlane. You said it in the honorable mention. No surprise. Everybody saw it coming. Everybody knew that it was going to be Todd McFarlane. Todd McFarlane, for me, he's exactly what he says his art is. He made it sexy, and his artwork is exactly that. It is sexy. I love all of the cross hatchings he uses, all of the dynamic poses he uses for certain characters, especially for Spider-Man. This artist is the only artist that got me to read The Incredible Hulk, even though that was a very short run that he did. And I have to say, Todd McFarlane on Incredible Hulk was just awesome. Along with Peter David's writing, I really enjoy that too. But I just feel like that Todd McFarlane can pretty much work with any writer, and they do a fantastic job with it. And it's as easy as that. He's the co-creator of one of my favorite villains, anti-heroes, Venom, of course, and he's also the creator of one of my favorite anti-heroes, Spawn. So there you go. Bam. It's no shocker. So there you go. So Luke, all right? So we just went over our top 5, right? And I have, not to put you on the spot or anything, but I have a question for you. Now remember, this is going to be Luke's world, okay? So if you could pick a team, okay, a writer and an artist, what team would you have them work on what character?
Oh, now you're talking. Well, I've said multiple times that I don't appreciate the current Spider-Man run. Okay. So I would like to see Donny Cates write for it, because I think he's doing a great job on Venom at the moment, as well as Thor. And I've enjoyed a lot of Donny Cates' stuff. Not to jump on the bandwagon like everybody else, but I do. I really have enjoyed what he has put out there. But as for the artist to coincide with him, I loved that Bagley jumped on board with Venom. Like I loved seeing Bagley back in that Spider universe. Like I think he knows how that universe works. Do you know what I mean? So maybe put Bagley over there. Stegman's also good. He's also a great artist. Yeah, you put me on the spot, but at the moment, that's what I'm gonna go with at the moment.
So Donny Cates with Mark Bagley on Spider-Man. That's what you're going with?
Yeah, I'd like, because it's already so good with the Venom stuff. I'd like to see it translate over to the wider Spider-Man world.
If I were to pick a team of artists and writers to pick on a character, I'm gonna go surprisingly with Donny Cates. With on Swamp Thing, and I would like to pick Jason Fabok as the artist. I think that would be my dream team for the dream character.
Yeah, very cool. Very nice choice there.
Thank you. So, Luke, that's going to wrap up today's show, and I want to thank you so much for being on today. Can you tell the people who are watching on this live premiere if they want to go to your channel, where they can find you? By the way, all of his information is going to be in this video's description, but just talk about your channel and what you got going on in the future.
Yeah, so it's Hydra Collectables, where we let our geek flag fly, and we put out content every week. We're slowly trying to work out the best day and time to release our content, because looking at the statistics, a lot of my fans are actually US based. So I have to work around my times here in the UK in order to best work out for you guys. So yeah, it's where we let our geek flag fly, as I mentioned, and we do everything from comic book reviews to movie reviews, toy reviews, anything in that geeky side of things. We're going to start getting a lot more people on for showing off their collections. whether it be Star Wars figures or Turtles or Gremlins or all sorts of things. We're going to get people from all different avenues of the collecting world. And then, as you know, we've got Comics with Friends, where we just all chill out, have a good time, and talk comic books.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I'm going to put a link to that video in this video's description down below as well. So there was a interview that Luke had me go on his show, and we were talking about Venom and all that good stuff. And that was a fun time. It was a lot of fun. So like I said, I'll put a link to that video in this video's description down below. And Luke, again, thank you so much for being on today's show. I look forward to maybe having you back on if you're interested. So
absolutely. Thanks for having me, and I'm happy to come back anytime you're willing to have me on.
Of course, yeah, anytime. So guys, that's going to do it for today's video. Don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment, click on that subscribe button, and you could potentially win the Spawn #1 CGC graded at a 9.4 just by clicking that subscribe button. So guys, yet again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.